I started playing guitar 12 years ago with a Squier Stratocaster and a PV Viper. As I was learning songs from my favorite guitarists like Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, and Michael Schenker, I noticed that they all had one thing in common. That one thing they all had in common was very simple, but I have found to be one of the biggest game changers in my playing, and that was playing through a great tube amp. Now, in a world where we have endless digital processors like the Fractals, the Helixes, and the Kempers, does it make sense to still play a tube amp? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think you should still be playing through a tube amp and why it will make you a better player. Alright, number 1 is they're very simple. Now, what I mean by that is simply, you go grab a tube amp like this one over here, and you have a few knobs. You have 5, 6 knobs. You have a bass, mid, treble, and a gain knob, and then of course a volume, right? And then you plug in, and it's just kind of limited to that, and that's what you got. Now, that is kind of bad. You're like, oh, I have such limited tones and all that. But what it does is it puts the focus on you and your guitar and how you're playing. The kind of touch you're using, how aggressive, how if you're gonna pick light, the different areas on the guitar you might pick. You might adjust your volume knob on the guitar or the tone knob, the pickup selector. It puts the focus on your ability of the instrument where that's at the end of the day where you should be focusing your time, not on gear and pedals and amps and all that. It should be focused on being better at the instrument itself. And a tube amp offers that by just being simple and straightforward. Number two, they are very dynamic and responsive to your hands, okay? I've played a lot of the digital processors out there. Only one I haven't played is the Quad Cortex. And at the end of the day, they are not dynamic and responsive to your hands. They do not respond the same way. They're close, but they are not the same. Playing to the tube amp, it happens instantly. The sound, right when you play, the sound happens. On the digital processors, I feel a little bit of an input delay, and also it's not as responsive. So if I pick really light, it gets quieter, but it's not the same as a real tube amp. And then if I start getting more aggressive, it's kind of just more compressed and flat. It doesn't train you to play with a nice dynamic response. A tube amp offers that. It gives you that ability to learn, oh, if I pick light, I can create this different sound. If I pick really hard, I can create this other sound. It's just more dynamic and more enjoyable in the hands for that reason. All right, number 3, and this sounds kind of silly, but they're louder. And it's not that they're louder. You can get a digital processor to sound really, really loud. But you know, as a tube amp naturally is just much louder. And what that allows you to do as a player is it makes you become more confident, puts you out front. And I know a lot of people, they're kind of scared. They hide away with their guitar playing. If they're ever playing live or at a music store even, they're kind of scared and timid like that. But a tube amp kind of pushes you out front and makes you kind of be more confident with your ability. And also, it being louder makes you hear differently. You can hear your mistakes a lot better, so you can be more precise with what you should be practicing. And so overall, it makes you a better player because you can hear everything more clear, and it's louder. All that kind of combines to make a more inspiring and enjoyable experience. You know, playing a little bit louder, having a more dynamic response, and also be a little bit more simple. We're not, you know, thinking of what if I try these other pedals? What if I tried changing these weird settings of the speaker sound and all this stuff? It's just plug in, I'm ready to go, and it's just inspiring and to sit down and make music with your instrument. Alright, and lastly, number 5, might be controversial, is they sound better. Honestly, they simply sound better, okay? Performing live or just playing at your house, in your room, a tube amp sounds better. I've seen so many people, they try to get these digital amps, digital processors, and they get good tone, but they're always searching for more. There's always these new things. And then you just get the real thing. You just get a great tube amp that you like the sound of in your set. You're like, oh, that's my sound. So at the end of the day, they just sound better. I hate to say it, but they truly do sound better. And I'm gonna be making other videos talking about the fractals, which is one of my favorite things that I own. I'm not like anti-digital processors, but at the end of the day, to make you a better guitar player, a tube amp, in my opinion, is necessary for the 5 reasons I just explained a few seconds ago. And from what I've learned over my years of playing guitar, there is a simple reason why all the greatest guitar players in the world were using tube amps.